We've reviewed your fields, your documents, your contacts. We've taken a look at our form conditions and form triggers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other settings that are on this particular page. We've got our review page here. This is just going to be that final review page before they submit that intake form. And then we also have some text that you can add on for when after they submit that intake form. Do you want to add in your own custom message to them? Underneath our settings, we have assigned agents. This is if you wanted to select a number of agents and add them to this intake form on bulk. When we go to add an agent, I'm just going to go ahead and type in our agent here and say Justin. Once we've added on that agent, we're going to want to make sure to select the team user that would be assigned to that particular intake form, the brokerage if we'd like to, and the time zone that that user is in. Below that, we have our internal instructions. This would be after that intake form has been submitted. What internal instructions or what instructions do you need to provide to that TC to do their part? Here, I've got a simple instruction that says review contracts, ensure details and dates are filled correctly. Next, I've got my settings. So here we see the time zone that we can set, the date calculation that we can set. We can also update those default communication and detail tabs. For example, on my buyer's residential intake form, I want it to default to my transaction details. But if I was looking at my listing, maybe I want to focus on my listing details. Below that, we're going to go ahead and skip down to default design. This is where you can upload your own logo if you'd like, and you can also add on a form color, a form background color as well. Next, we're going to take a look at our layout. And our layout is one of the most crucial parts of Open to Close. I'm going to go ahead and click on Secure Form. That's going to open up a preview of this intake form. Here, I'm going to go ahead and just select my team. I'll go ahead and select my user. And we're going to scroll down a bit. Our layout is directly related to how our field sections are organized on our intake form. So here you can see I've got address, property questions, contract questions. If we click back into Open to Close and we're looking at the layout, here you can see address, property questions, contract questions. I typically suggest you reordering your layout to make sure that as we answer questions, the rest of the fields below will populate correctly. So I know that when I say, yes, there's an HOA, yes, this house was built prior to this, and yes, there was an alarm, I don't have to worry about scrolling back up because the very top of this is the address. But as I scroll down, we're going to see here's the HOA details, here's another question about lead-based paint, and here's another question about our alarm code. So our layout is really crucial in making sure that that's updated so that as you go through and you answer those questions for that particular property, that all of the other fields populate afterwards. Here, I'm going to go ahead and sit on this screen for just a moment. That way, if you guys want to copy the layout that I have currently set up, you can do the same exact thing in your system. Again, we want that address to be at the very top. Below that, we'll have our questions, so property questions and contract questions, and all of the other details can sit below. I usually suggest maybe ordering these in the way that makes the most sense to you as well. Whatever matches your contract to make it easier to flow down the list to fill out that information. The last thing that we'll mention on this is if we're going through and we're testing out to check out our layout, once we're done checking it out, we're going to scroll to the very bottom of our intake form and we're going to select cancel form. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to create a brand new version of that intake form to preview that intake form. So we'll want to select cancel form whenever we're done with testing. We'll go ahead and select cancel form and it's going to close out that tab. That way, if I click on secure form again, I get the fresh intake form again. We'll go ahead and select cancel form when we're done with testing.